Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining me as we take a look at your work week forecast for November 18th through the 22nd. And we could have some interesting weather towards the end of the week. And the weather's been pretty impactful, even though it's been pretty consistently dry and relatively quiet temperature-wise because of the high fire danger. That will continue for the next couple of days, but our weather looks to get more active with some rain and maybe some mixed precipitation towards the end of the week. So definitely bears watching. This probably won't be the last forecast you get of the week. We're going to first start off by just kind of seeing we did have a weak frontal system come through, dropped a little bit, not enough to really make a big difference, but a little bit of a few light showers, enough to wet the ground a little bit. Unfortunately, that'll dry out real quick today, and we still have pretty high fire danger today, tomorrow, and Wednesday. The winds don't look too bad over the next couple of days, so it shouldn't be terrible, but definitely need to make sure that you're keeping any no burning outside. Certainly be careful what you're doing with your ashes, cigarettes, things like that, all that kind of stuff. You guys just got to be really careful about what you're up to with all that kind of stuff. Then we do have this system here across the central part of the country. That's actually not going to make it here, but what's happening here is we got the whole series of systems. We're going to take a look at this in a second that are kind of lining up, and eventually they're going to kind of flip the pattern a little bit. And it looks like we're going to have an upper level low and then a surface reflection of that descend on New England and give us a chance for some steady rain that will start to make a real difference, with maybe an inch of rain ending as some snow, particularly in the higher elevations for Thursday into Friday. So yeah, let's talk about that. Radar, first of all, you can see just a few showers, not a lot of precipitation, enough to help a tiny bit, but not really. You really need at least a half an inch of rain before it really starts to make any kind of a more than just a couple hour difference when it comes to the precipitation falling when it's as dry as it is, because it just basically, as soon as the sun comes back out, evaporates. Lots of moisture with this system, and then again, another pretty significant system across the Rockies here, dropping a bunch of snow across the higher elevations of the Rockies, and another system pushing in onshore. So yeah, that's the parade of systems that's getting us going. Let's actually take a look at that. What you can see is we still have really out over the Atlantic Ocean. We have that kind of omega block. We've talked about that a lot of times. It looks kind of like a cowboy hat with a low on either side of a big ridge. That has kind of blocked up the pattern, and we've been kind of underneath a persistent ridge here across the Northeast, and which has allowed us to be kind of dry, and in between some systems have given us some breezes as well. But what's happening here is this system plus more energy out to the west and some energy from the northern from more northerly directions is all eventually going to kind of push back to kind of reorganize the pattern. We're still kind of in an overall blocky pattern, but we may end up. Oh my goodness, I can talk, I promise. End up under an upper level low, and that actually gives us a chance to kind of be in a persistent, more dreary pattern, at least for a couple of days. And it does look like some precipitation is going to fall with that. And even behind that, we're probably with some chances of some showers of snow probably over the weekend. So yeah, that's kind of what's looking like it's going to happen. Here's temperatures. You can see we're not real chilly. We got decent warm up here across the eastern 2/3 of the country. However, there is some cold there, some real cold starting to build across northwestern Canada and Alaska. And there is some cold kind of across Hudson Bay as well. And we're going to have this is going to be moving in our direction and give us some colder air to tap to make it just marginally cold enough on Friday for high elevations. Probably not for most of us, but at high elevations to see some snow, maybe accumulating snow. Could be slippery even at some spots, but not down in the valleys. It's going to be up in the mountains if that happens. All right, so let's take a look at what that looks like on the upper levels pattern. This is Thursday. This is an approximation, obviously, but approximately what's going to be happening is we have this upper level low, which I've tried to, the gray is kind of the upper level lines here. And you can see we've got a trough that is where the lines of pressure sink south across the, as you go across the globe. That's what we call that a trough. It's like the trough between a wave and then a ridge, or we usually call it a ridge. That's where you kind of have the top of the wave. And ridge means high pressure usually at the surface. Trough means low pressure at the surface. Just a little bit of weather kind of going on there. And then I've got the low pressure system in where that's going to be drawn for Thursday. So it looks like Thursday we're all rain, right? Because the low pressure system is pushing, actually, if anything, pushing some warm air in kind of at the surface. And the upper level low is to our west. But what happens as we move into the next day here is that the upper level low kind of sinks south and east a little bit. And what always happens is the surface low pressure over time will start to move towards, as the system actually starts to weaken in many ways, the surface low pressure will eventually kind of move underneath the upper level high pressure, and you get a vertically stacked system. Now that's a system that is starting to decline because it's really when the low pressure at the surface is not attached to the upper level. That's when you've got rapid development, and eventually they kind of all come together, and that's where you actually got a system that's peaked and is starting to decline in energy. But through all of that, what happens is the main thrust of the trough moves a little further east, which allows a little bit more cool air to filter in at the surface and at the kind of mid levels, and that allows for some of the higher elevations to change from rain to snow. Overnight Thursday, I think we're all rain through at least the evening on Thursday, and the highest elevations start to change over Thursday night. And by Friday morning, areas down to maybe 1,500 feet, which is still pretty high. I live in South London area. I live along the river, though, so I'm at about 1,000 feet. So you got to be a ways up from the river even. But areas like that could be seeing snow, maybe even accumulating on the roads. I might be seeing snow by sometime Friday morning, but probably nothing that's causing anything besides maybe a little bit of slush on the grass at 1,000 feet. But at 1,500 feet, we could see some accumulating snow. We're going to have to keep an eye on this because the models, it's too early to really determine exactly how likely the snow is. And there's a pretty good amount of moisture still left around. So the chance for some accumulating snow, particularly above 1,500 feet, is possible. 1,500 feet is high, but it's not so high that that you wouldn't get some slippery spots. It would be kind of the spots you would expect coming through Snow Valley on Route 30, going over Route 9, certainly. If you're headed 103, like up across Terrible Mountain in Ludlow, heading from Weston to Ludlow, certainly 155 through Mount Holly, places like that. The places you would expect, Route 4 up near Killington, things like that. Places you would expect could be snow, then could be a little slippery. We'll have to see, but definitely bears watching. I'll probably have a follow-up on this on Wednesday. We'll have a much better idea what's going to go on. Let's take a look at what that actually looks like on the forecast. It's a weird forecast model or thing for the week. Basically, mostly sunny Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. A few clouds around, but mostly sunny. Fire danger is high all basically through Wednesday. Probably not as high as it was, say, Friday, Saturday last week when we had a little bit more breeze, but definitely be very careful out there. Temperatures are going to be basically upper 40s to around 50. All 3 days, lows in the 30s, a little bit cooler on Wednesday morning. But then here, Thursday, rain could start early in the day and kind of continue throughout the day. Everybody should get at least a half inch, maybe as much as an inch and a half of rain total out of the system. That's really helpful. This will help with the fire danger issues, certainly. And it looks pretty solid that that's actually going to happen at this point, the total amount of rain. The wintry mix gets a little bit more undetermined. If you're in the valley, if you're in Springfield or along the Connecticut River, probably all rain. If you're Route 7 down in Bennington, Manchester, I'm going to guess you're going to be basically all rain down that way as well, except for maybe at the very end with a few snowflakes, but nothing accumulating. But if you're up in the mountains, this is definitely bearing some watching. All of us could see some snow showers as we head towards the weekend. So let's take a look at the details of the highlights. A dry start to the week, which means fire danger remains high. The end of the week brings a solid slug of rain, which will end as mixed precipitation at higher elevations above 1,500 feet. Roads could be slippery on Friday. Have to keep an eye on that. I think schools basically will be a go on Friday, but we'll have to, again, still keep a little bit of an eye on that. The rain and snow should bring an end to the fire danger, probably for the fall. We'll have to see, but this will mean we need at least probably a few days of dry after this, so this should help definitely with that. It's not going to bust the drought entirely, but it should help. And the weekend looks chilly with chances for snow showers, basically like lake effect. Snow showers, so the mountains could see more of those. But we'll have to keep an eye on that too, because we could see enough snow shower activity that we could see some light accumulations from that as well. All right, I want to give a quick shout out to my patrons. They help support the channel. I really appreciate their help. And don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't before, because as we head into the winter, there will be more forecasts than we get basically on a normal time frame, and you will just get you'll get notifications if you subscribe. It also helps people find my channel. So thank you for that. I will be back probably Wednesday with a look at with an updated look at this forecast for Thursday and Friday. I might do it as part of my patrons forecast on Wednesday. I'll let you know, and then I'll certainly be back on Friday morning as well with a weekend forecast. All right.